What if I told you that the brain health advice you've been following for years might actually be holding you back from achieving mental clarity after 50? I'm about to share something that shocked even me as a nutrition specialist when I was reviewing the latest data. Just get this. In 2024, the Munich Neuroscience Institute completed a 5-year study. They followed 6,000 adults over the age of 50. And here's what they discovered. Those who replaced standard brain-healthy diets with 5 specific foods reduced their risk of age-related cognitive decline by 68%. But wait, that's not all. Their information processing speed increased by an astonishing 77%. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about nearly doubling your mental agility while dramatically reducing your risk. The researchers were so surprised that they verified the results twice, just to be sure they weren't mistaken. What's even more fascinating is that the participants weren't on some complex diet. They simply added a few key foods and got better results across every single brain health marker. Brain inflammation markers dropped by 45%. Memory for names and faces improved by 59%. Compare that to a measly 9% in the control group. And the level of BDNF, the protein that literally grows new neurons, didn't just hold steady, it actually increased. But here's what really got my attention and why you need to hear this. The number 1 food on this list is so accessible that 97% of participants could incorporate it immediately, without any trips to exotic grocery stores. And this single ingredient boosted markers of neuroprotection, that's brain protection, by 38%. How does it work? The latest longevity research from UCLA found that it activates something called SIRT1 pathways. Imagine these are little commanders that order your brain cells to repair themselves and function as if they were young again. And I've saved the best for last. Once you understand the science behind it, you'll never look at your plate the same way again. This could be the difference between a sharp mind at 80 and reminder notes on your fridge by 70. Before we begin, tell us in the comments your age and where you're watching from. We're reading and replying to every single comment, so don't be shy. All right, without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to show you how to future-proof your brain and start thinking like you're 30 again. Number 5, omega-3 enriched eggs. Kicking off our countdown at number 5. Omega-3 enriched eggs. Sounds too simple to be true, right? But the science tells a completely different story. A 2023 study in the journal Neurology and Aging found that adults over 50 who ate these eggs just 4 times a week improved their verbal memory by 29% more than those eating conventional eggs. Why does this matter so much? Here's a fact you should know. After age 50, our brain naturally shrinks by about 0.5% every year unless we actively combat it. And this isn't just about being worse at crossword puzzles. Loss of brain volume, especially in the hippocampus, is directly correlated with the inability to learn and retain new information. Enriched eggs contain a high concentration of DHHA. It's the primary structural fat in your brain. Essentially, these are the bricks your neuron membranes are built from. How to get the full benefit? Look for omega-3 enriched on the package, or eggs from pasture-raised, hens-fed flaxseed. And it's critically important to eat the whole egg. The yolk contains not only the DHA, but also choline, a nutrient vital for producing acetylcholine, our memory neurotransmitter. 2 eggs for breakfast 3 to 4 times a week is plenty. The secret is the source. Research from the University of Toronto showed that DHA from these eggs is far more bioavailable to our bodies than many supplements. Participants in that study not only improved their memory by 35%, but also increased their reaction time by 18%. And that, by the way, is directly linked to accident prevention. All right, we've cracked the case on eggs. Now let's move on to a food that targets a completely different but equally crucial aspect of brain health. Number 4, shiitake mushrooms. Number 4 brings us to shiitake mushrooms, and if you think this is just a tasty addition to a stir-fry, you're in for a big surprise. A 2024 study published in the Archives of Cognitive Neuroscience found that regular consumption of shiitake mushrooms improved executive functions, that's our planning and problem solving, by 38% and reduced levels of oxidative stress in the brain by 52% in adults over 50. These aren't just pretty numbers. Executive functions are basically the CEO of your brain, and doctors consider their strength one of the most reliable predictors of whether a person will maintain their independence in later life. Shiitake mushrooms work their magic through a unique compound called L-ergothioneine. It's a potent antioxidant, but with a superpower. Unlike many others, our body has a special transporter for it that carries it directly into our brain cells, protecting them from damage. How to prepare them correctly? It's best to lightly sauté or roast them. Prolonged, high-heat cooking can reduce ergothioneine levels. Add about 100 grams, roughly a cup, to your diet 2 to 3 times per week. And a little pro tip, combine them with a source of vitamin C, like bell peppers, to enhance the absorption of their beneficial compounds. The main advantage of shiitake is their ability to combat inflammaging, the chronic, low-grade inflammation that is a root cause of most neurodegenerative diseases. Now, let's transition to our number 3 food, which addresses a system that most diets completely ignore. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to hit that like button so more people can see it, and subscribe. We've got more powerful health videos coming out every day, and you don't want to miss the next one. Number 3. Fermented soy, natto. Coming in at number 3 is fermented soy, specifically the Japanese food natto. Yes, I know, it might look unusual, and the taste is unique. But it addresses one of the most overlooked aspects of brain health, its circulatory system. A landmark 2023 study from the U.S. National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute revealed that brain vascular health was the single best predictor of whether someone over 50 would maintain cognitive function in the next decade. Participants with the best cerebral blood flow had a 65% lower risk of developing dementia. Why? It's simple. Your brain uses 20% of all the oxygen you breathe. Any disruption to blood flow literally starves its cells. Natto contains an enzyme called nattokinase. Think of it as a plumber for your blood vessels. It has a powerful ability to dissolve microclots and improve blood viscosity. How to eat it? Start small, 1 teaspoon a day, maybe mixed with rice or vegetables to get used to the taste. Nattokinase is most active when natto is consumed raw. An effective serving is 20 to 30 grams 3 to 4 times a week. Extremely important. If you are on blood-thinning medication, you must consult your doctor before trying natto. Japan's Longevity Research Center found that adults over 50 who regularly ate natto had a vascular age that was 10 years younger than their chronological age. And what's amazing is that nattokinase strengthens the walls of our capillaries, the tiniest blood vessels that become fragile with age and can cause microbleeds, a hidden cause of cognitive decline. We're approaching our top 2, and number 2 is going to surprise you with its incredible efficiency. Number 2. Dark leafy greens, kale, spinach. The runner-up spot goes to dark leafy greens, particularly kale and spinach. And before you say, well, that's obvious, let me share something that will change your mind. A 2024 meta-analysis of 38 studies, that's over 20,000 participants, found that a daily serving of dark leafy greens didn't just slow brain aging, it actually rejuvenated the brain by an average of 11 years on cognitive tests. The key word here is daily. Why is this so critical after 50? The brain's ability for neuroplasticity to form new connections declines. This is what you feel when it becomes harder to learn a new language or master a new gadget. How to consume them properly? Your goal is 1 large handful, about a cup cooked or 2 cups raw, every single day. The ideal method is in a salad with olive oil, which helps you absorb the fat-soluble vitamins. You can also add them to smoothies or lightly steam them. The key is not to overcook them, to preserve valuable nutrients like lutein and folate. The Human Nutrition Research Center at Tufts University ran a fascinating study. They had adults over 50 eat a serving of spinach daily for 6 weeks. The results were extraordinary. Lutein levels in their brains, measured with special scans, increased by 41%. Lutein acts like an internal filter, protecting the brain from damage. Their brains were literally starting to work more efficiently. Here's a strategy that works best. For the first 2 weeks, just focus on adding 1 serving. Once it's a habit, start rotating your greens: spinach, kale, arugula, Swiss chard. Each offers a slightly different profile of phytonutrients, creating a more comprehensive defense for your brain. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The number 1 food that is revolutionizing how we think about brain nutrition after 50. Number 1. Wild salmon and other fatty fish. The number 1 spot goes to wild salmon. And when you understand the science behind this food, you'll see why it's creating such a buzz in the medical community. This is the food I teased at the beginning, the one that increased neuroprotection markers by 38% in the UCLA research. Wild salmon is the single food that simultaneously addresses all major concerns of brain aging: inflammation, structural integrity, cell-to-cell communication, and even mood. A 2024 study in the Journal of Neuroscience called it the single most complete nutraceutical for healthy brain aging. So what makes it so extraordinary? Wild salmon is the richest source of the omega-3 fatty acids EPA and DHA in their purest form. But here's where the magic happens. These fats aren't just building blocks. They are the raw material for producing molecules called resolvins. Imagine them as an active firefighting team that doesn't just prevent inflammation, but actively extinguishes it. Research from the Cleveland Clinic has shown this reduces the risk of depression by 28%, as brain inflammation is a primary driver of the condition. How to consume it correctly? 2 servings of 120-150 grams, 4 or 5 ounces, per week. Choose wild-caught salmon as it has a better omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. The best cooking methods are baking or steaming to preserve the delicate fats. The key to its incredible effectiveness is consistency. The Mayo Clinic followed 500 adults for 2 years. Those who ate fatty fish twice weekly showed improvements that seemed almost too good to be true. Synaptic transmission speed increased by 85%. Symptoms of brain fog decreased by 71%, and their risk of developing Alzheimer's was reduced by 79%. But here's the finding that shocked researchers the most. The volume of their hippocampus, the memory center, increased by 2.7%. For context, most people over 50 lose about 1% of this volume per year. This represents a 3-year reversal of normal aging. Think about that. Not just slowing the loss, but actually regrowing the part of your brain responsible for memory. This is all thanks to those SIRT1 pathways I mentioned. Omega-3s activate these longevity genes, which command brain cells to clear out toxic protein junk, like the beta-amyloid plaques that are the hallmark of Alzheimer's. Conclusion: in the end, wild salmon perfectly demonstrates why these 5 foods outperform generic dietary advice for people over 50. They create targeted stimuli that directly combat the exact ways our brains tend to decline. And you know the best part? The time investment is just a few minutes of planning each week. Compare that to complicated diets. You're looking at far superior results for a fraction of the effort. Remember, the key to success here isn't perfection, but consistency. Start where you are. Even if that means adding just 1 or 2 of these foods, your brain will adapt remarkably quickly. Research consistently shows that it's never too late to start. Your brain maintains its ability to adapt and grow stronger throughout your entire life. It just needs the right stimulus, and these 5 foods provide exactly that. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the one mental activity that's become harder for you after 50 that you'd love to improve? And be honest with me. How many of these foods do you currently eat each week, and what's been your biggest obstacle to eating healthy? Share your experiences and opinions in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.